Okay, I got this little fish knife here. It's really, I can't get any more knife. And I bought every one that I could find on the internet. But anyway, some people just take great big chunks or cut the belly clear out. But you have to practice. It's not something everybody can do really easy, but they're kind of hard to hang on to. They got a fat little tail anyway. So we cut right here, just to the backbone, reach in the knife. Then you got a good finger hold. No matter what, you can't get away. Then we'll cut the fins. There's no special way to, you can either do one side or the other. You tip these up and get underneath right here and comes right off. Okay, cut the head off. I put my thumb underneath this gill plate right here and cut the throat latch. Then I turn them a little bit and lift. It opens it up a little bit and cut right around behind the gills. Get it down against the table. And off it comes. So you split it and then cut all the way here like that. I usually put my finger in his throat and cut this side. Then just give a little pull. And everything comes out. And we are saving eggs. Put the bloodline. You notice he's curved yet, so I did all this without bending it. Because if you bend this fish straight, it'll tear the flesh on this side underneath. It separates the layers of meat. You don't want that. So just leave it crooked. All clean. Tomorrow we'll take this fish, cut the backbones out, cut the ribs out, and then we'll strip it for drying. That's tomorrow's lesson. Guess what we're doing? We're gonna cut the fish. So I usually lay them on the other side because I'm right-handed. So I'll take and scrape them a little bit. In the fall time, when they get closer to the creek, they get really slimy. So you want this fish to stay in one place when you're cutting it. It's still slippery, so we're going to use this little guy right here. It's just a punch. You can make one out of anything, but you can buy these little kits and they have a straight one in there. And you can use it for poke it in here. Add a little angle because you don't want to be in the way of your knife. It's pretty solid, so you're not going anywhere. Then you want to keep this fish secure. You don't want to have to chase it around when you're trying to cut it. It doesn't work good. I use a knife like this. The straight blade, pretty much. So when you start, you just kind of line up with the backbone like this and make the cut. So always start with the blade way up here. So just cut down. But one of your main ingredients is a sharp knife. If it's not sharp, you're not going to do a smooth job. So There we are. For the next one, you just line up the same way. I usually hold my hand flat to keep it in one place. And I try to get this little bit of a fin where the fins are. And lift up a little bit right here to get the back one. Okay, we'll take the ribs out. Make your first cut like that. Then the next one a little bit farther. You can usually see the knife blade. Then you grab it here. I always usually hold it with my knife like this, the tip, pull these. Nice and clean. Same thing here. Just start right underneath. And you cut right against the ribs so you don't get too deep and waste any meat. These backbones, if you leave a bunch of meat on there, you can take it and scrape it off. Spoon works good. So sometimes you leave a little more depending on how you cut. But if you're cutting king salmon or something bigger, or you're a little generous and leaving it on the backbone, you can get quite a bit of this. They used to take this meat and add to it or whatever scraps and run up through a grinder and make fish hash. So you mix ketchup, I can't remember all the recipe. I don't make it because it gives me heartburn, but anyway, use this and grind it up and mix it all together, put it in cans or jars and cook it the same way you would regular fish, same amount of time. And it was called hash. I don't make it, but we made a lot of it when I was a kid. But anyway, you can make a fish burger or whatever you want, but then that meat is not wasted. But if you're gonna save the heads, you take the gills out too, and then you can take them and split them in half and smoke them, or you can just boil them the way they are and eat boiled heads. They're really good, especially on big king salmon. We'll do one more. You started right just like that. And just cut all the way down. Same thing here. And go down a little bit and catch that bunch of bones where the fin was, and then I lift up a little bit right here and get those guys. And then you can scrape that backbone. Take the ribs out. Okay, I'm gonna show you something else. We'll take this fillet and we're gonna cut it in half like this. I always use the skinnier knife for this. I take it, cut it anywhere right here. There, we took the skin off. We're gonna do the same thing here. Cut right down to the skin, not all the way through. If you're leaving too much meat, you gotta adjust your angle. If you're cutting too deep this way, it'll go through the skin. So you can figure that out. It's not hard to do. Okay, we're going to cut these. That probably is enough. So some of you maybe never jarred fish before. So you take this part and always like to put a belly, one chunk of belly at least in the jar, because it's full of oil. And you put it with this part inside. That's pretty good. And then you put like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, or whatever you prefer to taste, but a 1/4 teaspoon in a pint's probably okay. You put these lids on, always clean the edge. Heat these in water and put them on. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, and you put your salt in there. This is not okay. So when you tighten this lid on, you take 2 fingers like this. It's snug, that's it. Because when you heat it up, pressure has to come out, and if you ratchet it down tight like this, it'll blow the bottom out because steam can't escape. So just like this. That's all you need. There, and you have a nice jar of fish. And when you put a belly in there, it'll have an oil ring on top. When you open it and pop the lid, you drink that oil. It's really good. Okay, when you cook these guys, you put them in a pressure cooker. I'm sure you've all used them. We didn't have one when I was a kid, so we boiled them in a wash tub covered with towels, cardboard, plywood. It had a fire underneath, and we boiled it for 3 hours. With a pressure cooker, the recommended time is 100 minutes at 10 pounds pressure. After it reaches 10 pounds, time at 100 minutes. Shut the fire off and let the pressure go down on its own, and then pick them out and let them cool. Take these lids off after they seal and wash the jars, wash the lids, and go store it away. You can put these back on just to protect the lid, but you don't have to ratchet them tight after they're cooked, because this was be sealed. And store it away, label the date on there, and you have fish all winter. I showed you how to put them in jars. That's coho, pinks, chums, sockeye, king salmon is all good in the jar. Humpies are bright humpies are really good. That's what the canneries canned mostly for many years. Sockeye is the preferred fish, but any of it is really good to put in jars.